Have you ever, in a fleeting moment, been startled by the realization that the life you are living may not truly be your own? Caught in the whirlwind of endless thoughts, weighed down by ceaseless worries, have you ever yearned for a moment of absolute stillness, a space where the clamor of the outer world completely dissolves? Close your eyes, just for a moment. Feel your breath softly flowing in and flowing out. Do you sense it? Right here, right now, a quiet peace exists, ever present. No matter how chaotic the world outside may be. Yet, what is it that obscures this simple truth? What has burdened your heart, filling it with invisible weights? In this sharing, I will guide you through 5 stories, not dry sermons, but vivid fragments of life, moments that you may have lived through or are perhaps facing now. Listen, not with the mind, but with the deepest layer of your heart. For within each story lies a key, gently touching the hidden corners of your soul, stirring awakenings that you may have overlooked for far too long. You will see the mistakes, the attachments, the illusions, quietly binding you, leading you astray, within a labyrinth of your own making. But do not fear, for the purpose of seeing clearly is liberation. Like a natural stream, when you perceive the truth, the knots will unravel on their own, and your heart will return to lightness, like a bird soaring freely. Let this voice be a companion, guiding you, step by step, back to the home of peace, where tranquility has always resided within you. And before we embark on this journey, do not forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you may continue to join these moments of serenity with Buddhism in daily life. Now, close your eyes, relax your body, and let us step into the world of the inner self through the stories that follow. Story 1: The Two Candles. A Buddhist tale of compassion and awakening. In a bustling city, there lived a woman who had spent many years alone. Seeking respite from the noise and clamor, she moved to a quiet small town. Upon settling into her new home, she learned that her neighbors were a humble family, a widowed mother and her 2 young children, living in poverty. One stormy evening, a heavy rain caused a power outage, plunging the town into darkness. The woman lit a candle to brighten her home. Soon after, she heard a loud knock at the door. Opening it, she saw her neighbor's young daughter, a small girl wearing a tattered raincoat, soaked by the downpour. With gentle politeness, the child said, "Good evening, ma'am. May I ask if you have any candles?" The woman thought to herself, "Is this family so poor that they don't even have a candle? If I give them one, they might keep coming back, expecting more." With this in mind, she replied curtly, "No, I don't have any." As she began to close the door, the girl's face lit up with a radiant smile, like a ray of sunlight breaking through the storm. She said, "My mother was worried that you, living alone, might not have candles. She sent me to bring you 2 to light your home." At those words, the woman's heart tightened. She was deeply moved by the generosity of her poor neighbors and overwhelmed with regret for her selfishness and suspicion. Tears welled in her eyes as she embraced the child, her heart softened by gratitude and remorse. Life is a tapestry of countless hues, woven with the presence of kind souls and hidden wonders all around us. Do not rush to judge others by their appearance or circumstances. Often, those who seem to have little possess hearts of great nobility and offer the most precious gifts of kindness. A person dressed simply may hold vast inner wealth or stand in high esteem, while some who appear glamorous may harbor greed or cruelty within. Many who wear fine clothes and drive luxurious cars may, in truth, possess nothing of lasting value. Thus, open your heart and embrace others with compassion. Let go of judgment, abandon comparison and contempt, and you will harvest countless seeds of goodness from the world around you. The image of the child in a torn raincoat, standing in the storm, her small hands offering candles despite her family's own scarcity. This act not only dispelled the darkness of the woman's home, but also awakened her once indifferent heart. To give does not require great wealth. What matters is the sincerity and warmth in our hearts. A single act of kindness, no matter how small, can bring joy and comfort to others. Yet, a moment of doubt or a flicker of selfishness can sow the seeds of loss, causing us to miss the beauty of human connection. The woman nearly closed the door on compassion because of the walls of mistrust she had built. Too often, excessive caution or unfounded fears lead us to shut ourselves off, forfeiting precious opportunities and meaningful encounters. Therefore, practice listening with an open heart and welcoming others with trust. In doing so, you may find yourself, like the woman, struck by moments of profound realization, moved to tears. These are not tears of shame, but signs of a heart awakening, being cleansed, and growing more beautiful. This story reminds us of the importance of seeing others with an open heart, of sharing sincerely, and of overcoming selfishness to cultivate compassion. Learn to give without expecting return, to trust and love, and to always be ready to correct your mistakes. This is the path to true peace and lasting happiness in this life. Story 2. The Empty Boat. A Buddhist tale of mindfulness and letting go. Once, a man was rowboat across a river. Suddenly, another boat drifted toward him, threatening to collide with his. Furious, he stood up and shouted, "Hey, watch where you're going! Are you trying to kill someone?" No one answered. The boat kept drifting closer. His anger flared, and he yelled louder, "You fool! Are you blind? What kind of rowing is that? Do you want trouble?" Still, there was no reply. Then, with a loud crash, the boats collided. But as they struck, the man realized the other boat was empty, carried only by the wind and current. In that moment, his anger vanished. He sat down quietly, watching the empty boat drift away. There was no one to harm him, no one to blame. The fire of his rage, which had blazed so fiercely, extinguished as if it had never been, because there was no one there. What do you see in this story? From the perspective of Buddhism in daily life, we draw these insights. The true nature of anger lies in our mind's exaggeration. The man's anger arose because he assumed someone was intentionally threatening him. But when he saw the boat was empty, his rage dissolved. As the Buddha taught in the Dhammapada, mind precedes all phenomena. Mind is their master, their maker. If the mind is defiled, suffering follows, like a cartwheel trailing the ox's hoof. Anger does not come from the outside, but from our own mind. The man conjured an enemy in his thoughts, believing someone meant him harm. Yet, seeing the empty boat, he realized there was no foe, only an illusion crafted by his mind. The Buddha teaches that suffering and anger stem from clinging to the self and mistaken views of reality. When we let go of the notion that someone is harming me, the mind finds peace. Reflect each time anger arises. Who is making me angry? Is someone truly out to hurt me, or am I projecting and weaving stories? By seeing the true nature of emotions, we realize there is no real object of anger, only our mind. In that moment, anger begins to fade. Clinging to the self fuels our suffering. The man reacted fiercely because he felt his self was threatened. His boat, his safety, was invaded. But when he saw the boat was empty, with no one to blame or cling to, his emotions settled. The Buddha, in the Diamond Sutra, said, "If one sees no self, no person, no being, no life, all phenomena are the Buddha's teachings." The self is the greatest illusion, the root of all suffering. Pain arises from clinging to this I and misperceiving reality. When we realize there is no separate self, no one to resent or hold on to, everything, joy, sorrow, success, failure, becomes part of the truth of awakening. This is the path to nirvana, liberation from the cycle of suffering. In life, when we feel hurt or angered by someone attacking our self, like the man with the empty boat, it is merely the mind reacting to an illusion. Recognizing there is no true self, we free ourselves from negative emotions, and all phenomena appear in clarity. Lack of mindfulness obscures reality. Blinded by rage, the man misread reality, assuming someone meant to collide with him. Only when he paused and looked clearly did he see the truth. The boat was empty. The Buddha, in the Satipatthana Sutta, teaches us to live mindfully, observing body, feelings, mind, and phenomena to see reality as it is. Zen Master Huineng said, "Originally, there is nothing. Where can dust alight?" If the mind is not clouded by delusion, all is seen as pure. This story reminds us to observe with clarity rather than react impulsively. Practice mindfulness daily. When anger, sadness, or frustration arises, pause for 10 to 30 seconds. Breathe deeply and ask, what is really happening? Am I exaggerating or misunderstanding? Is someone hurting me, or is my mind overthinking? With regular practice, mindfulness grows, reducing impulsive reactions and fostering inner peace. Suffering is a path to enlightenment. In Zen Buddhism, masters say, suffering is our teacher. Pain is not an enemy, but an opportunity to look deeply into our mind, recognize illusions and ignorance, and awaken to the truth. The man learned to release his anger, not by suppressing it, but by seeing the truth. There was no one to be angry at, only his mind creating suffering. This aligns with the Buddha's teaching in the Satipatthana Sutta. From suffering, we find wisdom. From delusion, we step toward enlightenment. Enlightenment is not a distant state, but moments of realizing the truth about our mind and reactions. When we encounter empty boats in daily life, Instead of assigning negative meaning, we can see them as lessons. These moments spark wisdom, laying the foundation for a heart at peace and a life of true happiness. Story 3: The Mustard Seed, a Buddhist tale of impermanence and liberation. In the time of the Buddha, there lived a woman named Kisa Gotami, known for her kindness, compassion, and selflessness. After much longing, she gave birth to her only child. But tragedy struck when the child fell gravely ill and passed away. Unable to accept this loss, Kisa refused to believe her child was gone, despite neighbors and healers telling her so. Clutching her child's body, she wandered from place to place, seeking a cure. Yet everywhere she went, people shook their heads, saying nothing could be done. One day, Kisa met an elder who took pity on her. "Go to the Buddha," he said. "Perhaps he can help you." With a flicker of hope, Kisa hurried to find the Buddha, renowned for his compassion and wisdom. She found him sitting serenely beneath a Bodhi tree, surrounded by his disciples. Kneeling before him, she laid her child's body at his feet and pleaded, "Venerable Lord, with all your compassion and wisdom, please save my child. Bring him back to life. I cannot lose him. He is all I have." The Buddha gazed at Kisa with eyes full of compassion. He saw her profound suffering, but knew she needed to learn a vital truth about life and death. After a moment, he spoke gently, "I can help you, Kisa. But first, you must bring me something." Kisa's heart sparked with hope. "Yes, Lord, I will bring anything you ask," she said, her voice trembling with relief. The Buddha continued, "Bring me a mustard seed, but it must come from a household where no one has ever died. If you find such a seed, I will bring your child back." Kisa nodded eagerly and set out on her quest. At the first house in the village, a kind woman answered her knock. Kisa explained, "Please give me a mustard seed so the Buddha can save my child." The woman replied, "Take as many as you need." But Kisa added, "It must come from a family where no one has died." The woman's eyes filled with sorrow. "I'm sorry," she said. "My husband passed away last year." Kisa thanked her and moved to the next house. There, she heard, "I'm sorry. My mother died years ago." From house to house, Kisa knocked, hoping to find a family untouched by death. But each time she heard stories of loss: a mother, a father, a sibling, a child. As the day wore on, Kisa began to realize that death was not hers alone to bear. It touched every family, every home. At sunset, she returned to the Buddha, empty-handed, but with a new understanding. She knelt before him, her heart no longer gripped by desperate hope, but softened by acceptance. "Lord," she said, "I could not find a house untouched by death. Every family has lost someone dear. I now understand that death is part of life, and no one escapes it." The Buddha nodded gently and said, "Kisa, you have learned a profound truth. Death is inevitable, and suffering comes to those who cling to the things of this world. But by accepting life's impermanence, you will find peace. Your pain is not unique. It is shared by all beings. This is the nature of existence." Kisa Gotami later joined the Buddha's Sangha as a nun, seeking the path to enlightenment. The Buddha accepted her, and she was ordained as a bhikkhuni. With unwavering dedication, Kisa meditated diligently, studied the Buddha's teachings, and cultivated mindfulness and compassion. Through her perseverance, she overcame grief and attachment, gaining deep insight into the nature of existence. Ultimately, Kisa attained full liberation, becoming an arahant, a fully enlightened being, free from all defilements and the cycle of birth and death. She then traveled far and wide, sharing the Dharma to help others find peace and happiness. The story of Kisa Gotami touches many hearts. A mother, shattered by the loss of her child, refusing to accept reality. Do you see yourself in her? Perhaps not in losing a loved one, but in the pain of losing something precious, a relationship, an opportunity, a belief. Like Kisa, we often cling to our pain, unwilling to let go. Yet the Buddha, with boundless compassion and wisdom, awakened Kisa. Through her, he offers us precious gems to light our way through the darkness of ignorance. Lesson 1. Recognize the truth of suffering, dukkha. The Buddha's first noble truth, the truth of suffering, dukkha, teaches that birth, aging, illness, death, separation from the loved, and unfulfilled desires are all part of life's suffering. Kisa faced the agony of loss, but her quest for the mustard seed revealed a universal truth. Suffering spares no one. Every family bears its own losses. This is not a punishment, but an inseparable part of human existence. When you question life's hardships, recall the Buddha's words. Suffering is part of the journey. Acknowledging this is not pessimism, but a step toward understanding and acceptance, as Kisa did. By accepting suffering, we reduce inner resistance, and pain begins to ease. Lesson 2. Release attachment, the root of suffering. The second noble truth, the truth of the cause of suffering, samudaya, states that suffering arises from craving and attachment to impermanent things. Kisa's love for her child was natural, but her refusal to let go, her clinging to his presence, fueled her anguish. She tried to hold on to what could not be held, resisting life's impermanent flow. Are you clinging to things beyond your control? Relationships, achievements, possessions, as if they will last forever? The Buddha teaches that such attachment brings suffering when things change or vanish. Cherish what you have without grasping, love without binding, like water flowing naturally. Lesson 3. Embrace impermanence, anicca. The Buddha taught that all things are impermanent, anicca. Nothing lasts forever. All arises, exists, changes, and ceases. The death of Kisa's child was a stark reminder of this truth. Yet impermanence governs not only death, but all aspects of life. Have you suffered from life's changes? A broken relationship, a lost job, declining health, financial loss, or career setbacks? Reflect on impermanence. Instead of resisting change or despairing, learn to adapt and let go, as Kisa released her child's body. Through loss, we grow wiser and stronger. Lesson 4. The path to liberation, Nirodha. The third noble truth, the truth of the cessation of suffering, Nirodha, reveals that there is a way to end suffering, nirvana, the state of perfect peace and freedom. Kisa's journey, from unbearable grief to acceptance and enlightenment, shows this path is real. By letting go of ignorance and attachment, she found peace. Do you long for true peace? The path lies within your heart. By practicing the Buddha's teachings, releasing ignorance, living mindfully in each moment, you can walk toward liberation, as Kisa did, step by step. Kisa Gotami's story is not one of sorrow, but of awakening, a map guiding us to inner peace. Let these lessons sink into your heart, illuminating your path of practice. One day, you too may smile serenely amid life's impermanent flow. The next story will reveal another facet of truth. Let us listen together. Story 4: The Monk and the Tiger, a Buddhist tale of mindfulness and presence. In a tranquil forest, a monk lived in harmony with nature, where each step was a prayer and each breath merged with the beauty around him. His heart was serene, finding deep peace in solitude, fully connected to the present moment. One day, as he walked leisurely along a narrow mountain path, a piercing sound shattered the silence, the menacing roar of a tiger. The monk froze, his heart momentarily gripped by fear. Turning, he saw, through dense foliage, a massive, ferocious tiger charging toward him, its eyes blazing and its powerful form radiating strength. Instinct kicked in, and the monk fled. His robes fluttered behind him as the tiger's growls grew closer. Desperately seeking escape, his eyes caught a slender vine dangling over the edge of a steep cliff. Without hesitation, he grabbed it and climbed down, hoping for safety below. But alas, as he clung to the vine, suspended midway down the cliff, a new terror emerged. Below, a second tiger prowled, pacing back and forth, waiting for its prey to fall. Caught between two dangers, he could neither climb up nor descend. Hanging in midair, with death looming above and the abyss below, the situation seemed hopeless. Yet, in that perilous moment, something small caught the monk's attention. Growing within reach on the cliff face was a wild strawberry plant, bearing a single ripe red berry. In that instant, all fear and danger seemed to dissolve. The monk paused, no longer thinking of the tigers or his plight. Instead, he gently reached out, plucked the berry, and placed it in his mouth. The sweet, refreshing taste spread across his tongue, a flavor so exquisite, so perfect. In that fleeting moment, only the simple joy of the berry existed. Despite the peril surrounding him, the monk found a profound peace in the present moment. He accepted that he could not change his circumstances, but he could fully embrace the moments life offered. With a serene smile, the monk knew this fleeting sweetness was a reminder of life's beauty, of the goodness that persists even in the most precarious situations. As the Buddha taught, do not dwell in the past, do not dream of the future. Focus the mind on the present moment. Do you see? Even when facing imminent danger, life holds treasures worth cherishing. The monk's encounter with the tiger mirrors the sudden challenges life throws at us. Yet within these trials lie pearls of wisdom, teaching us to dwell fully in the present. The tiger's sudden appearance on the quiet path reflects the unexpected difficulties that arise without warning, a reminder that impermanence, anicca, is life's law. Peace is not eternal, nor are hardships absent. Recognizing this prepares us to face life's ups and downs with less shock and attachment, ready to embrace whatever comes. Our task is to cherish each moment in the present, while cultivating resilience to face life's uncertainties. Only then can we uncover life's fleeting beauty, as the monk did, refusing to let fear dominate. He savored the berry's sweetness, a testament to the power of anchoring the mind in the now, finding solace amid the storm. The monk's act of eating the berry beautifully illustrates mindfulness in action. Fully focused on the taste, he set aside worries about the past or future. This presence brought him peace amidst danger. It reminds us to practice mindfulness daily, whether eating, walking, or working. Bring full attention to the moment. Mindfulness keeps us from being swept away by endless thoughts or baseless worries, grounding us in the present. This does not mean seeking absolute safety or fleeing challenges, but facing them with a calm, accepting heart, focusing on what we can control now. Even in the direst moments, life offers beauty, if we are awake enough to see and cherish it. Had the monk not been present, he might have missed the serene beauty of the berry before him. The story of the monk and the tigers teaches that, despite life's uncertainties, we can find peace and joy by living fully in each moment. Let mindfulness be your companion on life's journey. Story 4. The Two Arrows, a Buddhist tale of suffering and awakening. During the Buddha's time, in a serene forest, he was teaching his disciples about the origin of suffering and the path to liberation. A disciple, burdened with questions, approached the Buddha, bowed respectfully, and said, "Teacher, why must we endure so much suffering in life? Pain seems to cling to us endlessly. What is its root cause, and is there a way to find peace amidst this sea of suffering?" The Buddha looked at his disciple with eyes full of compassion and profound wisdom. Seeing the disciple's confusion, he knew this was a question shared by many. Calmly, he said, "Imagine a person struck by an arrow. The pain is unavoidable, isn't it? That is the first arrow." The disciples nodded, understanding that the first arrow represents life's inevitable pains, physical suffering from illness or injury, or emotional wounds from loss or hardship. The Buddha continued, "Now, imagine that, after being struck by the first arrow, the person brings upon themselves a second arrow. This arrow does not come from outside, but from their own mind. Anger, resentment, despair, or lingering sorrow born from the initial pain. This is the second arrow." He paused, letting his words settle in their hearts. "Do you see? While the first arrow is often beyond our control, the second arrow is our choice. The first arrow is the natural pain all beings may face, unavoidable challenges and trials. But the second arrow, the suffering we create through our reactions, is something we can release." The disciple listened intently, his eyes fixed on the Buddha, eager for guidance. The Buddha went on, "When struck by the first arrow, we must recognize it as a natural part of life. But we must also see the second arrow, the one our mind creates. Through mindfulness and understanding, we can learn to prevent this second arrow from striking." The disciple, beginning to grasp the teaching, asked, "Teacher, how can we avoid the second arrow? How do we stop our mind from adding suffering to our pain?" The Buddha smiled gently. "Through practicing mindfulness, observe your thoughts and emotions without rushing to judge or cling to them. When pain arises, simply acknowledge its presence without labeling or overanalyzing it. Accept that suffering is part of life, but you need not drown in it or create more pain through resistance or negative thoughts. This way, you stop the second arrow before it flies." The Buddha taught, the first arrows come unexpectedly. Physical pain, a harsh word, a loss, a disappointment. These are part of the human condition, the low notes in life's symphony. What's striking is that after the first arrow hits, we often don't stop there. Our mind, like a clumsy hunter, arms itself with countless second arrows, resentment, smoldering anger, gnawing pessimism, endless worries. We weave tragedies in our thoughts, dwell in negativity, deepening the original wound and piling on more pain. Why? Because our mind is conditioned to react, to seek reasons or blame for our struggles. We get trapped in cycles of craving, anger, and delusion, coloring our experiences with a lens of suffering. We lack the mindfulness to recognize rising emotions, the skill to soothe inner wounds, and are easily swayed by society's fleeting values. No one desires suffering, but in our ignorance, we evade, resist, or indulge in pain, creating deeper anguish. We are like the wounded who, instead of healing, keep tearing at their wounds. The awakening here is realizing that, while we cannot always stop the first arrows, we can choose whether the second arrows strike. The path out of this cycle is not escaping challenges, but befriending them. It is practicing mindfulness, observing the mind objectively without judgment, shifting perspective to find lessons in adversity, managing emotions to avoid being ruled by them, and building a life rooted in true values, unshaken by illusions. When a first arrow strikes, instead of reacting with anger or blame, take a deep breath and observe the emotion calmly. Accept its presence like a sudden rain. Don't push it away or flee, but simply notice it. Like rain that eventually clears, negative emotions will subside if you don't fuel them with more negativity. True awakening is seeing that suffering is not an external punishment, but largely a product of our mind. By letting go of negative reactions, embracing life's impermanence, and cultivating self-compassion, we prevent the second arrows from striking. Our life's journey becomes lighter and more peaceful. This is not mere philosophy, but a daily practice for finding peace amidst life's chaos. Story 5. The Gift, a Buddhist tale of serenity and compassion. Once, the Buddha resided in Rajagaha, in a bamboo grove near a sanctuary for squirrels. At that time, a Brahmin named Akosa Bharadvaja heard rumors that he had become a follower of the great teacher Gautama. In truth, he was not a disciple of the Buddha. Enraged and displeased by these rumors, he sought out the Buddha at his place of practice. Approaching the Blessed One, Akosa unleashed a torrent of harsh criticism, hurling vulgar and cruel words. In response to this abuse, the Buddha calmly said, "Brahmin, do you have friends, close companions, relatives, or guests who visit you?" "Yes, Gautama," Akosa replied. "Sometimes I have many friends, companions, relatives, and guests who visit me." "And do you offer them snacks, meals, or appetizers?" the Buddha asked. "Yes, Gautama. Sometimes I offer them snacks, meals, or appetizers," Akosa answered. "But Brahmin, if they do not accept your offerings, who keeps them?" the Buddha inquired. "If they do not accept them, Gautama, I keep them," Akosa said. "In the same way, Brahmin," the Buddha continued, "you are directing cruelty toward us, who are not cruel to anyone. You are angry with us, who are not angry with anyone. You are quarreling with us, who do not quarrel with anyone. We do not accept what you offer. Brahmin, take it all back. It belongs to you alone. When someone responds with cruelty because they were treated cruelly, with anger because they were provoked, or with quarrels because they were challenged, this is called mutual exchange, mutual entanglement. We do not engage in such exchanges or entanglements. Therefore, Brahmin, take it all back. It belongs to you alone. Hearing the Buddha's words, Akosa Bharadvaja understood the truth. He knelt before the Buddha, begging to be ordained and join the Sangha. The Buddha accepted, granting him ordination. In daily life, we cannot avoid hurtful words or actions from those around us, especially from loved ones. These are the gifts we do not wish to receive. The story of the angry Brahmin and the compassionate Buddha illustrates this profoundly. Akosa came bearing a gift of rage and harsh words, but the Buddha, with a serene heart and penetrating wisdom, refused to accept this toxic offering. Gently, he asked about the guests Akosa welcomed and the food he offered them. Then, with a simple yet profound question, he asked, "If the guests do not accept the food, who keeps it?" Akosa's answer revealed a deep truth. What we offer, if not accepted, remains ours. Likewise, the cruel words, anger, or harmful intentions others offer us cannot harm us if we do not accept them with a wavering heart. They return to the giver. The awakening here lies in mastering our mind, refusing to let external actions disturb our inner peace. We cannot control others' words or deeds, but we can choose how to respond. We can refuse to open the door of our heart to toxic gifts, preventing negativity from sowing seeds of suffering within us. In reality, we often get swept into pointless arguments, hurt by criticism, or ruled by anger. By accepting these negative gifts, we hold on to them, nurture them, and let them grow, causing unnecessary pain. The Buddha teaches us to be like a still lake, reflecting all without becoming tainted. When someone throws mud with harmful words, a calm heart lets the mud fall away, leaving no trace. True awakening is realizing that peace and happiness depend not on how others treat us, but on how we face and respond to what comes. Refuse negative gifts, keep your heart serene, and you offer yourself the greatest gift, inner peace. This is the surest way to resolve conflicts and find harmony in life. This concludes today's video. Thank you for listening. Please give us a like to share this message with others and subscribe with notifications to catch our next video. Farewell, and may you live in peace.